You
Yeah.
don't know
Goshen did
how
very well
heartbreaking
compared to
it
Washington.
was.
I'm sorry.
If you had
Texas.
family in Texas like I do,
Yeah.
you don't know how heartbreaking it was to
Yeah.
see.
I was
Well,
getting emails from
it's
friends.
Jim, what's
Send
the other
us the
valve?
rain.
What is it, gate, I'm sorry, gate valve, and what's the
The
second?
float
The
valve.
backflow,
Backflow.
backflow,
Backflow.
and then the gate valve. Now, the other question related to water coming in is that there's a drain in the floor, which I assume goes into foundation drains. The problem is that this building is so low. You can see that outside staircase, you go down about 6 steps from ground level to the basement. What happens when the groundwater comes up above the level of that drain that's in the floor?
Well, the drain's not,
Backs up, that's what happened,
Now, it's not sewage,
no,
no,
that's
that's,
groundwater.
but it's ground,
That's what
but
happened
it's
the
still,
second time.
yeah, the second time. Now, was the water coming out the second time out of that drain?
Yes.
The floor drain? Okay, that would then
The
that's
toilet
ground.
also rose again, it didn't spill
Right.
over, and
But it was the groundwater
and the
coming
sump
up.
pump would go off, drop into the slop sink, and up it would come again, even with more force. Likewise to the drain that's in the, stairwell at that emergency exit at the back of the meeting room, that was just blowing up. I mean, your pump was able to keep up with it after a while, but for
Oh, well.
for a while.
Was
it
there a
really-
chance that the lawyers next door, when they were pumping them out, that they were pumping their
I think it was the other way
stuff
around.
into us?
We started before them. We were pumping down, not on purpose,
Well,
but
where do
nowhere
you-
else
where
to
do you-
go.
Yeah,
Where's
water
your
has to go
pump?
Yeah,
downhill.
but when
Out
they,
to the
they,
street.
Out
they
to the
called
street.
the
We're
fire
supposed to
department
pump
5
out to the
times.
street. That's what you're supposed to do.
They had 5 different
Okay.
calls.
Wherever the storm drain is.
No,
But
so
Well,
when
we
the
had the
storm
fire
drain is
department
bubbling
here,
up, what do you
but
do?
when they were here, the water was only about this deep, and it was just, there were
It
other.
wasn't high enough for the
Yeah,
filters
Yeah,
in
they
there.
wanted, they would have done it if we had 3 feet of
It's a
water.
real
but we
Yeah,
didn't.
but they did the
Yeah.
guys next door. They
Serious
did
water.
them 4 or 5 times.
They
They
must have
told
had,
me.
They must have over a foot. They said they do
Yeah.
it at 12 inches or more.
yeah, they must have had more water.
Yeah.
And then where did they put that water?
They pump it out in the street, don't
In the
they?
street,
It goes out,
which
it's
is
supposed to
what
go
we're
out
not
to the
supposed
street
to
to
do.
the
What
It's
did
sewage
they
drain.
pump it into our?
No.
Not
Uh,
the
you know
sewers,
what?
they were so
Everything
full
was,
already.
I was just
don't
gonna
know.
say, everything was so full,
No
that
idea.
you were saying you pump it into the slop sink in the basement and it would come up the floor. So, I think, it was just a circuit. You were pumping it out to the street and it was
So we
coming
may
back
need,
in.
I guess I'm trying to get to the point, if there's only one floor drain in that whole basement area,
Right.
we may need to have a way of shutting that down as well.
Now, wouldn't doesn't it all converge into one main drain out to the sewer? Isn't that how it's
And
supposed to
as
be
he's
set up?
saying, it might be a foundation drain. We
Right.
don't know where
Right.
they go.
Well, the fact that it was going into the slop sink, into the pipe, and then coming up the floor
Okay.
simultaneously
But
makes me
That's-
think that it's the
Yeah,
same,
that's a logical
exterior pipe.
conclusion.
that it was all
Right.
going into that pipe and then
But it
would
was
just
coming
come
up even, because the sump is a periodic thing. When the sump gets full, it pumps, then it shuts off.
Mhm.
It was coming up continuously.
Mhm.
So I think you're getting this, that was just groundwater. That wasn't the water that was being pumped out of the sump.
I think that's what we should ask a plumber who can actually
All right,
take
so
that
this
thing
is-
off and snake it and see what
So
we
this
have.
makes, for another question, right? What about, that
Right.
drain? Because again, we may have to have a way to shut that off, to stop the
Yeah, well,
groundwater from coming in.
if it's an actual pipe out to the main, what do they call that? I know
The
there's a-
foundation drains.
No, the storm. So, well, no,
Sounds like.
there's one pipe that leads out of your house to the sewer, and all of the drains in your house converge into one
waste.
pipe.
The
No,
sewer,
waste pipe?
the
Sewer,
sewer
sewer.
pipe?
Right, the sewer pipe.
We call that the
That's-
sewer pipe.
Thank you.
But there's
Smart.
another pipe that goes out of your house too, and that's the one for the foundation drains. The two are not combined.
That's what I'm asking. And if it's another pipe that goes out to the storm drain, then we end up having to get two.
No, you're
waste
not
water.
allowed to have those.
Oh, you're not allowed to
You're
have
not
that?
allowed to have that going to the
That's what the
storm
letter
sewer.
Oh, yes, actually, yes.
There's a letter
No, no, no,
about
it's not
that.
a letter.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
town
No,
especially
the
who's
town,
after.
no, I get that. The stormwater and the
Especially you
sanitation
guys.
sewer is supposed to be separate.
Right.
Right.
But some
I
people
understand that.
combine
No,
them.
my point is that if we have two drain pipes that are leaving the building, then we need to get two shut-off systems.
Right.
Correct? That's what you're
That's what I'm
asking.
trying to say.
Right, okay, so if the hole in the floor in the slop room downstairs, it goes to a storm drain,
Right.
goes out to the stormwater sewer, then you want another shut-off valve
Well,
for that.
If it's like your basement where you have a sump pump and you're periodically pumping water out, usually, always you're supposed to, I believe, have a pipe going out to the street, right? So,
Where does our sump pump go?
Into the stop sign for the moment.
Oh,
Which is why we had
Lovely.
this problem.
It was next door.
This is the second option.
It's
You
not-
have a 5-second delay on that thing?
Often,
It's probably not going where it should, right?
oftentimes properties have what's called a dry well.
Yeah.
yeah.
And your stormwater
Or French
will be,
drain.
Right.
yes,
Or leach
French
field.
drain is another name for
I
it.
know what
And
we
it
would
could be
put on
pumped there,
Smarter
than
I look.
but that would become overtaxed during a storm like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that it
That's
would
all.
have.
The groundwater
But,
would just
but
flood.
there is those two options.
Right.
We have to look into that,
Okay.
Right.
where that sump
So if
goes.
the integrity of the pipe is okay and we had a shut-off valve, we wouldn't get groundwater up through that, is what you're thinking, right?
For that particular pipe, yeah.
You're
Yeah,
Right.
that would be
It also
correct.
depends on how much water we get. I mean,
Yeah,
we
well,
get
there's,
another
there's only
hurricane,
so
it's
much
just-
you can do.
Yeah.
But we should take every precaution we can to minimize
Right.
whatever flooding we might have.
We did have the hurricane on the Sunday,
We did,
and on the Thursday,
we had what was left.
Tropical
of
last
the
storm.
Thursday,
storm.
did
We
you
had a
see it
tropical
over
storm.
here? It's
Yes.
almost as bad.
They were.
It was.
I was
It
driving
was
to
left
work.
over.
The
Well,
I
that was
couldn't get in.
torrential
Just
rain,
as
that was
bad.
torrential
Yeah.
rain
Well-
that morning.
Just
Well, that
as
was
bad.
what was
The
left
schools
of
were
another
closed.
tropical storm.
schools were closed.
And I
It's
think,
gonna
and I
happen
think
again.
we
Well,
have
buses
There's
to,
another
couldn't
one
get
coming
around.
next week.
I
Yeah.
think we have
Out
to
in
be
town.
aware,
All the
that-
farmers are just.
this is September,
I know.
at the end of September, and our reservoirs are all full.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
Now, what's going to happen next spring with the
We can
snow
wash our
melt?
cars.
With the snow
No
melt?
drought. Lawn.
yeah.
No, with the
The
snow
snow
melts,
melts is
and
gonna
I
be-
mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
what
an
we're
ugly word,
looking at
snow.
now is not.
No snow.
But he's right. I
Well,
mean,
well,
we
whether
still
we have
have to.
snow or not, you're gonna have like the ground freezing when that melts. Where's that gonna go?
Right.
And
So we
then
have
it'll be
another 6
90 all
weeks of
October
hurricane
and it'll be
season.
dry.
Then we
No.
have nor'easter season. Then we have
No.
blizzard season.
But
we
I
gotta do something.
but
yeah.
there's a sense of urgency now.
Absolutely.
I feel
Absolutely.
strongly because
Oh,
of
yes.
what we could be looking at
We should
next
take every
spring,
precaution, you're right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
that we've
so,
gotta do it.
This is
Right.
what we have. This is our building to work with right now, and
right,
for
and we have to
a
take
while
care
longer.
of it.
So.
And if it keeps flooding, we can't sell it to anyone anyway. So.
Yeah.
No
one will
flooding.
want
We don't
it.
flood.
Okay.
What's like?
So are there any other committee reports? We will get back to the plumbing issues in the insurance company during executive session, okay? Sunshine Committee, anything going on? No. The,
We need some sunshine.
Floating on sunshine.
Public Relations Committee, did we do anything with your newsletter? Did you ever get to?
Oh,
It's
Yeah.
out. It's
Is
coming
it?
out tomorrow.
Okay.
I have the mock up here.
Oh, wow.
Beautiful.
I mean, it's gonna be
Oh.
It's
folded.
not gonna be that nice.
Well, it's not gonna be on this paper, unfortunately, because.
Oh,
It's gonna
smaller,
be a
it's
cheap
about half the
paper.
size.
That's nice.
No, I think
I
it's,
love the
what is it?
colors.
I think it's the same
It
size.
is, it's
I think
nice and
it's
cheerful,
smaller.
right?
Yes, I love it.
Now, is it,
But it's,
it was pre-flood? Or is there a story about the basement?
no, there's, it's, yeah.
Well, the
Irene was
headline,
here.
Irene was here.
Okay.
Got as much as we
Yay.
could.
Yeah.
One thing that didn't make the cut, unfortunately, was your friend's appraisal night, because what's that, on the 18th
Oh,
or something?
right.
It's not gonna
Mm.
make it, unfortunately, but,
Yeah.
um,
So that.
but yeah, we have a
That's
couple.
gorgeous.
That's
Yeah,
very
it came
nice.
out nice. I mean, it was,
Fascinating.
Should have had a thing for contributions are accepted.
got a friend's,
Oh, we need someplace to put them first. You mean book contributions?
No money.
Oh, money
Okay.
contributions?
Any other, committees? I think we hit everything. Physical resources,
It's a
anybody?
good thing we got that limb off that tree before the storm.
Honestly, I
Yes,
thought about it
really.
a couple of times.
It's been
Mhm.
a lot worse, actually.
Every time a gust of wind came by, I was, wow, that's all we need.
Has anybody seen that tree in the wind when the wind is whipping around?
It's actually not bad.
Yeah. Okay.
It's really not. It doesn't really go very, the tree itself doesn't move.
Huh,
The little
the
bits.
building does.
The building. Have, the Physical Resources Committee, have you looked into the roof at all? Because we have had, another spot, right? we had, the concern is that, a couple years ago, we had insulation blown into the attic.
Yes,
And
yes.
miraculously, our roof leak stopped, but we think that it's
Huh.
leaking into
Maybe
the
something might be
insulation.
moist up there.
That's the concern.
In the little mold?
Oh, I don't know, I don't even wanna think about that, but, yes, right, quiet.
I
Keep it down, Norma. But the, we had a leak in the corner
County
after
building is gonna
finally,
be
right,
closed
am I,
now.
am I
that
pointing in the
sort of-
right?
Yeah. with the restroom up here, I guess.
Yes,
So that
okay.
maybe a little.
And, yeah, one more thing. But, like, you know, we have to get the basement and the roof. The water's coming at us from
Minor
both
details,
ends.
foundations,
The
roof.
foundation and the roof.
Never
that's
mind
all
what's in
right.
between.
That's
Yeah,
a
well,
leak
that's-
that was fixed a few years back.
It's, you're
It was
right.
much worse.
Great, very nice.
Right, but it seems to have,
Yeah. We used to put plastic out over all of the stacks in there, and it would, you know, just leak away. And now it was
Yeah,
just
now it's a drizzle, but
Right.
it's,
So was that one that Danny fixed?
no. That was in the bathroom.
The
This
one
is
that,
one that's actually in the old part of the roof, the slate roof.
who fixed that, you know?
I find out. I'm not sure.
We have to call them back.
Yeah.
This is gonna be great for our strategic planning.
But we did, the Physical Resources Committee did report back that that is an area of concern,
yeah.
our leaky roof.
I was just
and,
wondering if there's,
but
we had so many, different things on our minds before Irene hit.
yeah, no.
And then
but
Irene showed
it's-
up and we kind of lost our way. So I'm
Yeah.
just trying to get back on track. If I'm repeating myself, it's.
No, I
Yeah.
don't think you are. But it's maybe indicative of how we need to start budgeting
Absolutely.
more and more for the upkeep of this building.
Yeah, there are some repairs we
You know.
definitely have to,
And it's just a fact of life. We're going to stick with this building for a while,
yeah,
and we got to take care of some of these things.
absolutely. All right, well, you're up, Matthew, the
Okay.
director's report.
All right. Well, I mean, as we covered most of what I wanted to cover here, flooding was obviously a major issue. You all have, I think Carol passed out to you the RCLS budget information. They would like to institute a member fee based on a formula. $7.50 is the base, and they add on an amount according to population served. I think ours was somewhere like 1,300 maybe, something like that. But you all get to vote on that, if you'd like, on the October meeting. So that information you could peruse over the month, and if you want to see the actual gigantic spreadsheets they send me with all the libraries and all the fees, if you're interested, you can stop by. It's just too big to reprint, because, you know. And it doesn't tell you all that much except for what the population served up by every library and how the formula breaks out. But
Do we have a representative who votes, or how does it work?
The board gets together, we vote, I have one ballot that we ship to RCLS, and I asked Matt to give everybody this for this meeting, so that we could all make an informed decision at the next meeting. So this board counts as one vote, whatever we all decide goes on that, and they have to have it by, what's our next meeting?
October 12th.
few
Right,
days
and they
after
need
that
it by
meeting,
the
so we'll be
15th or
fine, yeah.
16th or something like that, so.
Have you heard from other directors about their feelings about this?
Not yet, but we haven't had a meeting since this went around, so.
And we've already had $3,600 worth of grants from RCLS this year, according to the,
Right. So this is a new fee.
no, this is
So
what
that's
they
a
gave
grant
us.
they gave
That's
us.
come through, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they did, right, through the state and through the
Right, and
main
then,
library.
what's the matter?
What choice do we have?
Oh,
Well, if you want from what I understand, if you do a vote, if it's voted down, there's no, and this seems rather severe, but there's no delivery. So you still have interlibrary loan, but it would you still have to borrow in between, but I'm not sure how that works. And you still have direct access, which means our people can go to other libraries in the system. Direct access is something that RCLS,
but nobody will come here and drop off.
and you still have
Oh,
a catalog.
okay.
You still
I
have.
think that-
right,
Didn't we
I think-
discuss that fee before?
I don't know.
You know, the cost of guys shuttling
Well, they were
books
gonna
around?
charge 25 cents or something for
Yes,
every
it was,
interloan
right, that's
book.
right. They
2
wanted
years
to
ago
do
or a year
something,
ago.
yeah, that's what that is.
That was a quarter.
That
So I
was
don't know
the
if that's how they got that number, if they said, let's do a quarter, and let's 25
everybody
cents
said, "Are you
times
kidding?"
Goshen's
Yeah,
serving population equals the 1,300, I don't know,
yeah,
maybe.
I don't know.
Huh. So,
But it's a flat right now.
But it does say no basic services do not include delivery or access to any consulting services other than with the executive director. So those
So
are
we
two
could
pretty.
talk to Robert Upshaw.
So
So what is
we'd
it?
have to,
The basic services are what we're paying now, or the basic services is $7.50?
no.
Basic
answer?
services are if this
They're
goes
being
down.
funded by the things are being funded entirely by, or there's no shortfall currently, but there will be,
Right.
and
Okay.
we're talking about getting the same service,
But now we
but
have
because
to pay
the
a little bit.
state is not contributing as much as they
Right.
right,
were.
the state cut its aid.
State. Yeah, the state cut its
So-
aid, and I'm sorry, Jack's not here. Cause I thought this was hilarious that we had to pay, $660 toward the interest payment for unemployment. Because the state borrowed billions of dollars from the Fed and owed $93 million in interest, and our portion of that was $660. So I think asking the state for anything is probably out of the question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
So yeah, so this is our contribution to, because we're not getting,
It's not
Funded by the
RCLS charging more.
no, it's
No,
RCLS making
it's
up the
just-
shortfall.
Yes.
And it's spreading it out based on population.
And that's a year.
Based on an equitable
And it's a year, for
formula.
$1,300, we're talking $110 a month to do this for the, services we get from them.
Yeah.
What would it cost us to hire somebody to go around picking up books and
Are we
bringing
gonna
them
take a
here?
vote?
We're gonna vote
read
we're
it,
gonna
or-
vote it in October.
Okay.
That's the plan. We're gonna vote in
Okay.
October, and that evening I will fill out the ballot according to whatever we decide and mail it off.
Next month.
Here, the important
It's
piece here
next
says,
month.
notwithstanding the decrease in expenditures, there will be a revenue shortfall of $281,000.
Right.
If state aid is provided at the full amount outlined in education law, RCLS would actually have a surplus of $161,000. The RCLS unallocated fund balance will be used to offset 75% of the revenue shortfall, and member library service fee will be used to offset the remaining 25.
Oh.
So the 1,300 is,
I thought he said
Us
if we
paying
didn't have
their
it,
debt.
if we
Yeah.
didn't know money, we would have had a surplus.
plus the
Yeah.
750 or?
That's what he said.
No.
I just heard surplus.
Does
Yeah,
that,
I agree
with you.
1,300 include the 750, Bernie's asking, or is that in addition to?
That is including the 750.
Yeah.
750 is the base price for every library, and then
Right.
Basic
That's-
cable,
Because I
doesn't
know I
cable
read this
and-
when I got it.
I know.
And that was like, that
And
was
how much
August
of it is
15th.
a raise for my friend
I don't get
Hubs now?
HBO and Showtime and all that good stuff.
And I have no phone since I moved here. No phone.
You still there?
You're a
I
brat.
still don't have a phone.
I'm
That's
excited.
unbelievable.
Wow.
Good or bad?
Well,
Well, the school can't call.
I don't own a cell phone, so if my son needs to get a hold of me,
Oh.
that's the
Bad.
problem. You know,
That's
you have to go through his father,
Mm,
you know, so it's just,
a
I'm
pain.
just wondering if I have to pay for those weeks of no service.
You shouldn't.
Anything else?
This is legislative
They should
reminder.
credit you
Okay.
that.
I'm waiting for my bill.
Yeah.
Nope.
I just got my phone last night.
They cut your phone?
I just got my
Okay.
phone
Just got it back?
in the village.
Can we
just
get
got a
back on
phone.
Oh,
topic, please?
congratulations, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Matthew, go ahead.
The last thing I wanted to mention, I'm sorry, was the legislative breakfast. If anyone's interested in attending, every year they have their breakfast
Where
this
is
year.
it this year?
Same place.
Golf club?
Yep. It's
Can we do it on a weekend, that way we
What's
can.
the
It's
date?
on
Friday.
Friday,
It's a Friday, what's the date?
the
When is
7th,
it?
October 7th.
October 7th at 8:30 in the morning.
Just email me and I'll add you to the list.
I've been thinking of trying to make it this year. I wanna
I think I've
say
gone
hello
every
to
year.
my friend Hubs now.
It's not an open bar, Frank,
No.
so.
It's 7:30 in the morning.
Mimosas.
You're right.
Tell the politicians,
She'll have
we
to
want
bring your
the,
own, I guess.
Well, that's,
Funding
yeah, you do, you
reinstated.
go, you talk to them, you schmooze and that kind
Yeah,
of thing.
right. We want funding reinstated so that we don't have to
They
pay
usually
this
have the
extra
election
fee.
for the other,
They do.
For the
libraries, are they
RCLS
having
board,
that?
yeah.
Yes.
Is there anything else you
I
want to
think that's it. You saw the newsletter. It should be going to press tomorrow, to be printed tomorrow. I think that about sums it up. Everything else I'd like to say, I'll say later when we get to that.
Okay, thank you. So unfinished business. Our last meeting seems like so long ago. I don't think we left anything undone, but figured put it in there in case anyone remembers something I forgot. Going once, going twice. Okay, we can move on. New business. That was the
RCLS.
the RCLS that we
Mhm.
just discussed with Matt.
Okay.
That's the distribution there. And yes, we will vote on that in October. So if you'd like to look that over. What's the other thing we wanted to?
So what is it? I think that's it.
Because I think then we moved everything to the
Yes.
executive session, right? Yes, Jim, you look like you
I
wanna
wanted
say
to,
something.
under, I guess it's new business, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Perhaps in regard to the question of opening up, whether or not to try to open up
Yes.
that wall. I guess the thing to do, someone said it downstairs and it's an excellent idea, to ask the staff if a section of that wall were open and so the room space is larger, would that be helpful in the way, what programming they might do to have a larger space? They'd have to obviously do some rearrangement of the materials, and it might not work at all.
Yeah, I have already asked, and I didn't get a lot of positive feedback for
No.
the idea. That's why, you know, I
Okay.
wasn't sure.
Shut it down right away.
Only because people are concerned, right? They're concerned about noise. At least now we have a way to kind of, you know, have one
Segregate
thing
little
going on
kids
over
from
here,
the older
right?
kids, yeah.
Mhm.
Unless you were to get something really like what, you know, like one of those gym walls that, you know, you could sort of
Mhm.
close and open at will, but I don't think that's gonna happen.
And it's
But-
the purpose of taking the wall down.
Right, and the other thing is, yeah, just I guess, major concern was that you're still gonna be left with, all of that shelving to deal with unless you just radically reoriented everything in there and made some kind
Mhm.
of other.
And
But the basic feel was that it was kinda shot down.
Mhm. Okay,
Is
so
that
the-
wall on the door ours
Is,
downstairs?
the wall.
The wall, the zipper.
Oh,
Is that ours?
You want it when they're done? Is that-
No, we would use that.
Using
Oh,
it for the, just punch a doorway
Have
through.
kids running into it,
Mm.
see faces.
well, if they don't see that it would be advantageous, then obviously it's not worth pursuing.
Right. Okay. Anything else anyone wanna discuss before we? No? Anyone have anything in mind for next month's agenda that they would like to see included? Norma, did you wanna say something?
We're having a special meeting this
Next
month?
Monday.
Next
Monday.
Monday.
Next Monday.
Next Monday, we're having a work session meeting to write up our business plan.
You're supposed to have read that book by now.
Yeah, what's the matter with you?
Now you just let the cat out of the bag.
I actually have to go find it, I don't even know where I put it.
Oh, mine's
but-
all marked.
Yeah,
Ours,
oh,
I
you're
get
too funny.
emails that it's due.
We can mark it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I don't even know mine's checked out, I never got an email.
I don't think I checked
I got
mine.
an email from our CLS that mine is.
Was yours from,
Oh, I never
from out
did.
of system? Okay, I'll have to, just email, can you email me to remind me and I'll have them
Oops.
re-up. Okay.
I
Um,
got mine for free.
I don't even know if
I
you
think one
remember.
other thing, I guess,
Yes.
I think the Friends, who are gonna be meeting next week for their monthly meeting, would like to help out in regard to the flooding, and if there's something in particular that, needs to be purchased, something that perhaps, would seem like, we'd like to have it, but it's more like a luxury, and the library really can't afford that. Maybe the Friends can pick something like that up. So anyway, keep it in mind that
Okay.
Okay.
if there's a need, you know, let the Friends know.
It's a
Yeah.
flow valve?
Yeah,
A
that's
whole
that
new
one.
sewer
Backflow
plant.
valve?
In and
Backflow
out.
valve.
They wanna buy us a sewer pipe, right?
PVC from the front to the end.
Can we ask Matt to, try and do something with our new accountants? We're now, a year and a quarter away from 2010's financials.
Yep.
And a quarter of a year away from 2011's.
Mhm.
Can we get something
Light a
in
match
push?
under them?
So, yeah, that's supposed to be, they were
That was
working on
supposed to
that,
be,
right?
yeah, we're supposed to have it at
End
the
of
end of
August.
this end of August? I couldn't remember if it was the end of August or the end
Yeah,
of
so that
September.
probably, we'll get that
Yeah, so we should,
shortly,
we
that's
should
good.
have it by the next meeting.
Good.
But,
I think they actually met, I think the old
they
and
did.
new
Mhm.
Yes.
met this
They did.
week to discuss discrepancies or something, so.
Yeah, it's different ways of
So
doing
it's-
things that the old one
Mm.
had that
Mhm.
new one didn't understand.
With their cheese.
So it's
Yeah.
pretty forthcoming, so it's
Okay.
hopefully.
Hold on,
So
that's
hopefully
good.
it's on, so hopefully we will have that for the next
So-
meeting.
I also have an
Yes,
to acknowledge Matt and his staff for dealing with so courageously at 4:45 a.m.
And Jim
Yeah.
coming out as
Yes,
well.
and Jim,
Jim
with his
came
thank
out,
you,
so cleaning,
yes,
yeah.
thank you,
Thank
and
you.
wonderful
sorry for your,
inconvenience, but
yeah.
Added work, load there, yeah.
yes.
And exposure to hazardous material.
Yes.
Well, thanks for your boots, I think I was protected.
I ran down to Tractor Supply and bought some.
There were no snakes in the water or
boots.
anything? There was one reporter saying, there are snakes in the water, I can't go in the water.
Really?
Yes.
Probably logs.
Did you get
that's
your
nice.
check, by the way, your reimbursement?
Tonight, yeah.
Okay, good.
Tiffany,
Well, come on now.
TMI.
Come on, it's like gators. Be gators down south.
Yeah, there was a nice, sign that the staff put up thanking Matt. They recognized that he's really
He's very
That was
helpful.
nice.
done a great job.
I found out through the grapevine that was Danny that put that up, which,
Did he?
Oh.
Yeah.
that's nice.
And he deserves it.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
I put it in the
yeah.
newsletter, he's
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah.
He got
And
props,
so does Jim.
absolutely.
Props, as they say these days.
Oh.
Now, Jim, next
out.
week, it just occurred to me now that we all wanna use this room. The Friends meeting is what day?
They meet on
Tuesday.
Tuesdays.
Okay. Alright, so then we don't have to
So-
change anything, so we're still meeting here next Monday night, and, you know, even if you haven't finished reading the book.
Well, the book is not for actually putting together
No, it
a
isn't.
business plan, it's for
It really
selling
isn't.
it.
It's for selling a
Yeah.
plan, and it's for selling a plan for, right, what I want us to do first, before we even get into anything like that, is just a basic why we exist plan.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
you know, if you Google business plan for a nonprofit organization, you will get the samples of the sort of thing I had in
Which I
mind.
did, and they all asked me to pay.
I'm sorry, I had
And I'm
stuff.
like, I'm not paying $99 for
No,
look at something.
I have websites, I'll email everybody
Okay.
links. It's, you know, we have a mission statement, but we have no business plan. And like I was explaining the first time out, if we were a business and we went to a bank for a loan to operate the first thing they would ask for is a business plan. We ask the public for $1 million every year and we don't have one. So we kinda do need one. And I
One
actually
of the
have a link
things-
for a library who has written themselves a business
I
plan.
actually looked up the Warwick Library one, and I'm going to print out copies for our meeting next
Mhm.
week. And it's their strategic planning, and it goes from 2011 to takes them all the way to 2016,
Mhm.
and all of the areas and goals, measurable goals, short-term goals, long-term goals. And so if people want to go online, look at it first. But I'm going to make copies of it for everybody, because I think it can narrow our big
Well,
thing, and just, one of the big things that looking through that book that you gave us is
mhm.
the one word, one phrase that keeps coming up is community involvement, and how you go about developing a strategic plan.
Well, a strategic plan and the business plan are not the same thing. A business plan comes first. We have to have, and it's one page, maybe 2-3 paragraphs is what we're after here. And it's just
Why we do
what we
do.
are, right, why we exist, what our function in the community is. And based on that, from that we work off what our strategic plan is, because now we know who we are and what we do, now we know what our goals are, because now we can defend, this is what we do, this is why we do it, and now the strategic plan is the how we do it. So next week, the plan is to come up with, even if we don't finish it, if we come up with just the beginnings of an actual why we exist plan. What our place and our function in the community. That's the
Maybe
bottom
we'll
line.
devote 15 minutes at each meeting, subsequent meeting for
Something,
this.
but
I'm sure it's ongoing.
we needed just to
Yeah,
get
no.
started on it, and right,
You
and
bet.
then exactly, if we spend, we put it in the agenda for a couple of months until we tweak it to our
Yeah.
satisfaction, and then we're done. And that's something that we just have and revisit in 5 or 10 years, and then from that build a strategic plan. From that build a building
Yeah.
plan, whatever you want to do after that. Okay. All right. So privilege of the floor. Yes. No. You done? You don't have anything to add? Okay. Thank you very much. We're going to, what time is it? 8:30 what? 7? 8:37. We're gonna go into executive session. And you can jump
Want a
in.
motion on that?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting to do that.
I'll do the motion in one.
Hey, Jim's made the motion going second, Frank seconded it. Everybody in favor of going into executive session?
I'll third it.
Okay.
Keith thirded it. Okay, thank you.
Cut.
Cut.